I've been trying to call. I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe I'm going through withdrawals. You don't even have to do too much. You can turn me on with just a touch, baby. I look around and since it is cold and empty, no one's around to judge me. I can't see clearly when you're gone. And I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep right until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, when I'm like this, you're the one I trust. I'm running out of time, 'cause I can see the sun light up the sky. So I hit the road in overdrive, baby. Hit the road in overdrive. This city's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can't see clearly when you're gone. And I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, when I'm like this, you're the one I trust. I'm coming back to let you know I can never say it on the phone, but whenever let me go this time. I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. Feel free to be whoever you want to be. Feel free to dance, feel free to sing, just feel free. Feels like the world is picking on ya. Feels like it's picking on me. But trying to please everybody, that ain't... What's going on, everybody? Hey, welcome back to the Two Tone Talk podcast. Talking about the Tennessee Titans, talking about the NFL in general. And ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 52. And the future is now. Officially, the future is now, because since we last recorded, which was Monday, I normally do episodes on Monday and Friday, but this is a rare Thursday edition of the Two Tone Talk podcast instead of Friday, because I am leaving later this afternoon to go on vacation for the weekend, so I won't be able to do an episode tomorrow, so I'm doing an episode today. So, since I last recorded, Mike Vrabel on Tuesday afternoon made it official. Will Levis will be the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, not just on Sunday against Tampa Bay, but
for, barring injury, please Lord, barring injury, he will be the starter for the rest of the season. He will be the starter next season. He will be the starter, hopefully, for that next however long. And this is a decision that a lot of people doubted. A lot of people were skeptical that Vrabel would do the right thing. I'm going to go ahead and go on record as saying I wasn't. Now, I did say if he did the unthinkable and announced that Will Levis was not the starter, then in my opinion, that was a fireable offense. It's good to see Titan Anderson Sports, who says his youngest is throwing up like the Exorcist. So he'll be going live a little later on, but for right now he's taking care of his kiddo. So wishing the best for them. Titan Fox is also in the house. A lot of people were skeptical that Vrabel would do the right thing. I was not skeptical of that because it was just so it was so common sense. You know, it was so obvious what needed to happen. It was so obvious that there was no merit in putting Ryan Tannehill out there again. It was so obvious to everyone that, I mean, it would have been one of the most absurd decisions that I've seen if he would not have announced Levis as the starter. So I knew he was going to do the right thing, but I did say if he, for some reason, didn't do the right thing, then that would be a fireable offense. But at the end of the day, he did the right thing, as we knew, as we should have known he would. I understand people being skeptical of it because of his demeanor and the way he carried himself in press conferences, but maybe I'm alone in this. I stopped putting too much thought into the way Vrabel acts in press conferences years ago. Like, I don't put any stock into any way that he acts in front of the media. I think that I think that he portrays himself a completely different way in press conferences than he probably does behind closed doors. I don't put much stock. And that's annoying because as a fan, I feel like I buy the merchandise. I have their memorabilia in my home. I watch every game. I buy tickets to games. Like, I feel like I've earned the right as a fan to kind of know what's going on. But, you're not going to get anything out of Vrabel in press conferences. So a lot of people are putting too much stock, I think, into the way he acts in videos shot by reporters, the way he acts in press conferences, the way that he, wasn't excited enough after the Falcons game. I just don't buy that stuff. I don't care about that stuff. Some people do. And you've seen them and you've heard from them on Twitter and things like that. People who say that he's not happy enough and he's not excited enough. I think some of that is because of this coaching era that we see with McDaniel in Miami, Sirianni in Philadelphia. These are guys who are more animated. These are coaches who are more, they make jokes, they wear their emotions on their sleeve. And that's fine, to each their own, but like, Andy Reid doesn't get excited about anything except for cheeseburgers. Like, you never see Andy Reid in the press conferences like this and so excited about what Patrick Mahomes did today. You never see that. I mean, Bill Belichick, are you kidding me? He doesn't get excited about anything, and he's got more Super Bowls than anybody. And he never even talks above this volume right here. I mean, this is how he talks at press conferences. I mean, if we're going to talk about the way people are portrayed in press conferences, I think that's a useless debate to have. And if you've determined that Vrabel should be fired because of his demeanor on the sideline, give me a break. Let me catch up with some comments because Will Dotson in the chat said, did you see Vrabel's emotional reaction in his interview with Jim Wyatt? I don't know about Jim Wyatt. I saw the one with Mike Keith where he was asked about the decision to bench Tannehill and start Will Levis. And I think that this was a hard thing for Vrabel to do because I don't think it's because he thought it was the wrong decision. I think it's because he has a great amount of respect for Ryan Tannehill. I mean, it was Vrabel's second year here. The Titans were 2-4, and they looked completely lost, and he was on hard times. And Ryan Tannehill came in after he'd been traded from Miami for a sixth round pick and was pretty much cast away as, a backup for the rest of his career. He came in and helped rejuvenate this entire team. And we ended up in the AFC Championship game that year. And he performed well for the Titans in 2020 and 2021 as well. He's been a gutsy player. He's played through injuries. He's played with offensive lines that nearly got him killed. And so I think Vrabel has a lot of respect for Ryan Tannehill. It's like breaking up with somebody that you really care a lot about and respect, but they're just not the right person for you. That's tough when you have to tell somebody that you're breaking up with them, even though you respect the crap out of them and you think they're a great person. That's kind of what it is. It's tough. And so I understand it. And I think that does show how much Vrabel cares about this. I mean, this idea that he's trying to get fired so that he can go coach the Patriots, it's ludicrous. These are conspiracy theories. This idea that he doesn't want Will Levis to succeed and there's a power struggle between Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel. It's nonsense, guys. If you don't like some of the stuff Vrabel does, then certainly we can have conversations about that. We can have conversations about his mentality and the way he approaches the game. Sure, that we can have discussions about that, but now we're just making up stuff based on nothing. He doesn't like Will Levis. He would rather Tannehill start. He doesn't like when people stand up to him. He has a power struggle with Rand Carthon. What are you basing this on? Sometimes we need to step into the real world and get off Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Come on. If you don't like the way Vrabel coaches or something for some reason, again, we can have discussions about that. But sometimes it just feels like we're just making stuff up. Just to have in our own minds, And I do think we've seen from Vrabel that, as Titan Fox said, he develops relationships with these players. We even heard that from AJ Brown when AJ was here. So I think that idea that Vrabel's not showing enough emotion. Give me a break. I also have seen people, and I posted this on Twitter, at Two Tone Talk. Go follow me over there. I talked about, people who are saying that it's somehow a failure by Vrabel that Will Levis sat on the bench for the first however many weeks and he was inactive, and then the only reason he got in is because Tannehill got hurt and all of this stuff, and they're saying it's a failure because Vrabel should have known Levis was the better option, and the fact that he didn't have him in earlier on is a failure. Are we going to really act like that hasn't happened before? Are we going to really act like Drew Bledsoe was not the quarterback for the Patriots and then he got hurt and then they put in Tom Brady and then Tom Brady led him to a Super Bowl and then the rest is history? And what Brady accomplished with New England. Are we really going to act like this doesn't happen sometimes? When you have a rookie quarterback, Vrabel said it last week. He said there's no substitute for playing in the games. You can practice great, you can be great in training camp, but until you get in the game, you don't know. And I can understand how you would be hesitant to throw a rookie out there. I mean, if you're Carolina, they don't have any other option. Okay, if you're Houston or Indianapolis, Indianapolis has Gardner Minshew, but ultimately those are teams who are like, hey, you're going to have to be our guy because we don't have anybody else. The Titans had Ryan Tannehill. They had somebody that they felt like, you know what, we can go another year with him, let Will Levis sit on the bench. So, are we really going to act like, Andy Reid started Alex Smith over Patrick Mahomes for a whole year. Right? So just because Levis was, keep in mind, Levis was kind of dinged up. He missed some time in the preseason. He missed some time in training camp. And so it's understandable how you would look at that and say, hey, you kind of need to take some time. Be inactive, learn the ropes, get your feet under you before we just throw you out there. I just feel like if you have a legitimate gripe about Vrabel, that's one thing. But when you're just looking for stuff and you're creating stuff based on nothing, that's when you kind of lose credibility to me. But either way, Vrabel did the right thing Tuesday. He announced Levis as the starter. And obviously, yeah, this was tough for him. Again, not that he doesn't believe it's the right thing, but just because he has a lot of respect for Ryan Tannehill, and it's a tough decision to make. But it is the right one. And now we look to the rest of this season and the future. And I heard Ian Rappaport say this, on NFL Network, and I completely agree. And it's good news for Titans fans. He said, hey, if Will Levis continues to play this season like he did against Atlanta, like he even did against Pittsburgh, if he continues to look good, if he continues to look poised, if he continues to have command of the offense and make nice throws, regardless of what the record is at the end of the season, regardless of if they make a run or not, like at the end of the year, I appreciate you, Titan Anderson Sports. Appreciate you, man. If you get to the end of the year and Levis is still performing well, you can go into the offseason with total peace of mind that you've got your quarterback and you can build around him. That's where every team wants to be. Like, every team. Indianapolis wants to go into the offseason knowing we've got our guy in Anthony Richardson and we're going to build around him, and we feel confident in that. Houston with Stroud. Green Bay with Jordan Love. I mean, even guys who have been in the league for a while, you want to know you can go into the offseason. The quarterback position is the most important on the team. You can go into the offseason knowing we've got that. We've got that. So now let's fix the offensive line. Let's get some weapons. Let's fix our defense. And let's come back next year ready to go. We got the most cap space in the NFL. We could very well have a high draft pick. Let's go get this thing. Great. So I'm thrilled for Will Levis. I'm thrilled for the Titans. I'm very pleased with how he's looked. He's got another road test coming up Sunday against Tampa Bay, and everybody's got it in the back of their mind. We saw what C.J. Stroud did against Tampa Bay last week, so now let's see what Will Levis can do. Obviously, the Titans have some injuries. Treylon Burks is not going to play. Obviously, with the serious injury he had at the end of the Steelers game, he's still in concussion protocol. He's probably going to miss a couple games. I would not expect Sean Murphy-Bunting to play, and that's tough because the Bucs have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They've got some weapons there, so it looks like we're going to be without cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting. That's tough. And obviously there are some other elements too. Daniel Brunskill, right guard, who's done a good job this season. I would consider him to be questionable at this point. I think Azeez Al-Shaair, I didn't expect him to be on the injury report, but he is, so that's something to keep an eye on. So there are some injuries there that are going to impact both the offense and defense, and I hope Brunskill's able to go. There's no, if he is able to go, there's absolutely no reason for Dylan Radins not to be in at left tackle. If he's not able to go, they might put Radins at right guard or something. I don't know what they're going to do. A lot of moving pieces, but I hope this offensive line can, hang in there. But this is kind of what it is every week, right? This offensive line's tough. But I will say the Bucs do not have the best defensive front. The Steelers, you're going against the Steelers. They got TJ Watt. They got all those guys. Cam Hayward was back in there. I mean, they've got a good defensive front. The Bucs don't. The Bucs are not the best defensive front. So, I mean, the Titans offensive line you would think should have a better day on Sunday. But other than that, I mean, of course I'm looking at Levis. I think Derrick Henry could have a big day. Derrick Henry quietly has crept into I think the top 3 in rushing this season. For all of you who claim that he was washed and that there was no reason to keep him, dude still looks pretty good. And so you've got Derrick Henry, I think, could have a very big game, as well as Spears could very much get involved there. But I'm looking to guys like Kyle Phillips. I mean, Kyle Phillips probably had his second best showing as a Titan against Pittsburgh. had about 70 yards. I mean, probably second only to the season opener against the Giants last year. That was probably Kyle Phillips' second best game he's ever had. He's been injured a lot, so I mean, he's got limited playing time, but I would like to see him continue to build on that. I like what I saw from him against Pittsburgh. I'd like to see him build on that. Would like to see Chig Okonkwo figure it out. He does some good things here and there, but compared to last year, it's a major regression for him. Would love to see Josh Wiley, the rookie tight end, who we've seen with some flashes here and there. Would love to see him figure it out. And, I don't know who they're going to have really in Traylon's place. Obviously, you've got Hopkins, you've got Phillips, you've got Moore. They're probably going to have, obviously Westbrook-Akine is another one. But if they want to call somebody up, I mean, Colton Dowell could come in to replace Traylon. They've got a couple other guys on the practice squad they're probably going to call up. So, Will Levis, a tough road test. He's about to have 2 road tests in a row. And as I said on Monday, everybody's looking to the future. Everybody's looking to, what could be, next season or this offseason. But we got a long way to go this season. And I'm just telling you right now, I know the Titans are 3-5. But I'm just saying, if they beat Tampa Bay Sunday, and if they get some help from the 49ers, who could beat Jacksonville, maybe some help from Cincinnati, who could beat Houston, it gets kind of interesting, because then the Titans go on the road to Jacksonville next week. I'm just saying, it gets interesting. But let's see what happens Sunday. Because if you lose Sunday, I mean, this season's kind of a wash. 3-6, you're not coming back from that, right? So, that's kind of where we stand. Titans and Bucs. I mean, Baker Mayfield. This is a gritty Bucs team. They've lost a few games in a row. They've got the same record as the Titans. I think they're 3-5. But the Bucs. I mean, Baker Mayfield. This guy's gritty. They've got a lot of talent in guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, they're coming off a heartbreaker against Houston last week. A game they felt like they had won, and then Houston went down and scored at the last second. So they're either going to come in defeated, or they're going to come in ready to make amends. And I'm telling you right now, seeing how Baker Mayfield plays, they're probably going to come in ready to make up for it. At home, it's going to be another tough road test for Levis and company, but I'm excited for him. I'm excited for the Titans, and I feel like a little bit of, for some fans, a lot of faith has been renewed in Vrabel because he made the right decision there. Titan Fox brings up a good point. Wonder what Kearis Jackson's status is. I'm going to assume he's not close yet. They haven't even mentioned him since he got hurt, so we'll see. Let's do a little 32-1 Two-Tone Talk power rankings. Again, this is not based on record. This is just based on how I see the layout of teams in the NFL right now. 32-1 power rankings. Here we go. The bottom 3, number 32, no shocker, it is the Arizona Cardinals. Worst team in the league. They look, they're sad, but they're getting Kyler Murray back this week, so we'll see if he can bring some life there. 31, also not too much of a shocker. It's the Carolina Panthers. I watched some of their game against the Colts the other day. Bryce Young not looking good so far. He doesn't have a lot of talent around him, but he threw 2 pick sixes the other day. Not good. And especially when you see Stroud looking good in Houston, Levis looking good in Tennessee. Carolina gave up a lot to get Bryce Young for him to be throwing 2 pick sixes. And then at number 30, we have got the New York Giants. The New York Giants, boy. Daniel Jones tore his ACL. He's done for the year. Tyrod Taylor is their backup. He's on IR, so they're going to have to start Tommy DeVito. And this guy does not look like he even belongs in the league. And the Giants are in a tough spot because, you would say they need to go in another direction at quarterback this offseason, but they paid Daniel Jones a heck of a lot of money. So, not quite sure what the future's going to hold for the Giants, but what an awful year for them. Okay, let's get into the 20s here. Number 29, the Bears. Justin Fields, once again, not going to play again tonight. And they're just kind of, it could be a big offseason for them. And right now, they've got Carolina's pick. So it's very possible the Bears could have 2 picks in the top 5. If they determine that they're not looking for a quarterback, I would expect them to probably use one of those 2 picks to take Marvin Harrison Jr., and then the other they could potentially trade away to a team that could be looking for a quarterback. So we'll see how things shake out, but I mean, it could be a very important offseason for the Bears. Number 28, the Patriots. I don't know what the Patriots are looking at quarterback-wise as they go forward. I don't know how high of faith they have in Mac Jones. There's talk of Bill Belichick wanting to go somewhere else. I don't know, but the Patriots just don't have a lot of talent right now. Number 27, the Green Bay Packers. Don't look now, but I mean, the Packers are at least a respectable 3-5. They looked hopeless a couple weeks ago, but they've won a couple games now. They beat the Rams. The Rams, obviously, without Matt Stafford, so they didn't get the Rams at their best. But hey, the Packers have managed to string together a couple wins now. And there's, the bottom half, the bottom of that NFC playoff picture is very up in the air, to say the least. So we'll see if Green Bay can kind of salvage things. I don't think they have enough talent to do that. Number 26, the Raiders. I mean, what a difference it makes when, you get rid of a coach that apparently the players didn't like. They got rid of Josh McDaniels, and all of a sudden that locker room's happy. Devontae Adams looks excited to be there. The locker room's having fun. Like, there's a lot of, renewed faith surrounding that team. I think the Raiders, I don't know where they stand with Jimmy G, but I know that they could be a team in the market for a quarterback this offseason. But the Raiders, it makes a difference when there's a coach that players haven't bought into, and then you get rid of that coach. All of a sudden, players start feeling a little better about the whole situation. Number 25, the Broncos. The Broncos were off this week, but the last time we saw them, they were whooping the Chiefs. So, I don't know. Let's take a look out for the Broncos. I think the Broncos are 3-5, right? They're 3-5 like the Titans are. So we'll take a look at the Broncos, kind of see Russell Wilson, got to have a little respect for him. Sean Payton, of course. We know what he's capable of, so we'll see. Number 24, the good guys, the Tennessee Titans. I just... Everything I can say about them, I'm not going to say a lot about the Titans because I talk about them the rest of the time. But I got them at 24. Number 23, the Rams. I mean, the Rams, they were feisty there for a little bit, but it kind of feels like they're fizzling out. I mean, Stafford hurt, and they just... They feel like a shell of what they were a couple years ago. Number 22, the Washington Commanders. The Commanders got a much-needed win over the Patriots on Sunday, but they still don't look like a good team. The Commanders they look like a bad team who just happened to play a worse team on Sunday against New England. But the Commanders at 22. Number 21, the Colts. Again, the Colts, they beat Carolina on Sunday, and they're give it to them. They're managing to string together wins without Anthony Richardson. They've probably got one of the better backups in the league in Gardner Minshew, and so the Colts, they're going to fight, and so the Titans have to play them again later on in Nashville, and that's not going to be a gimme. They already beat us once. Number 20, the Bucs. The Bucs got started off. The Titans, obviously, their opponent this Sunday. The Bucs got started off with, better than people thought. They were, 3-0? But they've come back down to earth. They fought, but they just have come up short in a lot of these games. That Thursday nighter against the Bills, and then obviously they thought they had Houston beat Sunday. So the Bucs fall to 20, and then at number 19, it is those Houston Texans. It appears that they have their quarterback is C.J. Stroud. So we'll see. And I mean, guys like Tank Dell and Nico Collins, I mean, these are guys that you looked at and said, who the heck are they? But they're putting up good numbers for Houston. And that worries me. Number 18, the Atlanta Falcons. A brutal couple of weeks for the Falcons. What did Aaron Rodgers say? Narratives change quick. The Falcons were in sole possession of first place in their division a couple weeks ago. Things looked relatively good for them, and now they've lost 2 in a row. One to a rookie quarterback in Will Levis in his first start, and the other to Josh Dobbs, who had only been on the team 5 days, didn't even know the names of his teammates. That's brutal. For whatever reason, Bijan Robinson, who they picked in the top 10, is not in the game enough. And Arthur Smith, our good friend Arthur Smith, is trying to explain it in press conferences. He makes no sense. and the seat's getting hotter and hotter. They play Arizona this weekend, and if they lose to Arizona, the seat's going to get even hotter. Number 17, the Jets. Boy, did the Jets come back down to earth Monday night. They looked horrible. Zach Wilson looked bad. I mean, their offense looked atrocious. And the Jets were fun there for a couple weeks. Can they kind of string together a nice little playoff berth and then Aaron Rodgers make a miraculous comeback? I don't think it's going to happen. Number 16, the Saints. It's been a good couple of weeks for the Saints. The Saints are now in sole possession of first place in the division. Derek Carr's playing better. They played the Bears the other day, so, I mean, it's not like they beat a quality opponent, but they won. And any win in the NFL is a good one. Derek Carr's playing better. The Saints overall look better, so we'll see. But, I mean, to me, they're the team to beat in that division right now. Number 15, the Chargers. The Chargers are now at 500. I think they're going to make some noise in that AFC wildcard race. They're going to find their way into it. Justin Herbert's too good not to find himself in that position. Number 14, the Minnesota Vikings. Can you believe how high they've climbed up this list? The Vikings have totally renewed their season. I mean, they looked like a total afterthought about a month ago, and now here they are. They've got Josh Dobbs. They've figured it out. Justin Jefferson's going to come back. The Vikings are a team to look out for, in not only in their division. I mean, they're only 2 games back from Detroit, but in that wild card race, Minnesota's right there. Number 13, you want to talk about a team that shouldn't be up here, but they are. Number 13 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers, Kenny Pickett doesn't look good. The team doesn't look good, but somehow they're 5-3. They are second place in their division, only 1 game behind Baltimore. I have no idea how. But, I mean, Mike Tomlin deserves a trophy for having this team in the position that he does. We'll see if it continues. But Pittsburgh, you got to put them up here. Number 12, the Seattle Seahawks. They drop a few spots because they took one on the chin Sunday. They got their butts kicked, and this was a, let's get real type moment for the Seahawks. Number 11, the Buffalo Bills. Listen, the Bills, I'm kind of concerned about the Bills. I think their Super Bowl window is if it's not shut, it's barely still open. They just don't look as good. They don't have the same fire that they've had the last few years. And so they drop out of the top 10. And speaking of the top 10, let's get to the top 10. At number 10, we are going with the 49ers. I know the 49ers have lost a few in a row, but they got Chase Young coming in. They're coming off of a bye. They better win on Sunday against Jacksonville. I think the 49ers are going to figure it out. I just think, come back from the bye, renewed, figure it out. They creep back into the top 10. Number 9, we're going to go with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, again, I don't know how the Browns are. Well, yeah, I do know how the Browns are as good as they are. It's all because of their defense. Their defense is great. Deshaun Watson is not worth the money they paid for him, but I mean, he's played better. But I mean, they played Arizona on Sunday, so they played the worst team in the league, and they did what they were supposed to do. They whooped them. They shut them out, and so we'll see how things continue to go for the Browns as the schedule gets a little harder. Number 8. How about the Dallas Cowboys? Took a tough loss, but I mean, this was they looked fine. I mean, it's not like they got killed or anything, but that probably means they're going to be a wild card team. I mean, you've lost to the Eagles, who are now a couple games ahead of you. Just kind of feels like but the Eagles do have a brutal schedule down the stretch, so we'll see. But the Cowboys, I don't drop them. I don't raise them up. They put in a good effort, but they came up short Sunday. Number 7, the Detroit Lions. Another team coming off of a bye. The Lions, I mean, they're 6-2. They're still very much in control of that division. Minnesota's still a couple games behind them. But, I mean, Detroit, they didn't keep their foot on the gas because if they want to be considered, I think some people don't even consider them in the same class as San Francisco in the NFC. They don't consider them in the same class as Dallas or Philadelphia. So here as we go into the second half of the season, Detroit needs to prove that they can actually make some noise there in January. Number 6, the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins drop a few spots. The Dolphins have yet to beat a team over 500. They've beat 6 teams who are not above 500, and they've lost to the 3 teams they played who are above 500. They've hung in there. It's not like they've gotten killed by anybody, but just got to wonder if the Dolphins are going to be able to get over that hump to beat those really good teams. And now we get to the top five. Number 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Unfortunately, they're in the top 5. The Jags are coming off of a bye. And so we'll see. But, I mean, they're in command of that AFC South. They're 3 games ahead of the Titans. 2 games, I believe, ahead of the Texans. 2.5 games ahead of the Colts. So the Jags are trying to run away with this thing, and hopefully San Francisco can help us out this Sunday to slow it down a little bit. Number 4, Cincinnati Bengals. Listen, the Bengals have figured this thing out. 2 great wins in a row over the 49ers and the Bills, and the Bengals have got it going. And the Bills do not have as good of a record as the Jaguars, but I think if the Bengals played the Jaguars right now, they would beat them. So I got the Bengals at number 4. Number 3, give me the Chiefs. They beat the Dolphins in Germany. Good for them. The Chiefs are back on track, and they're on a bye this week, and the Chiefs are still one of the teams to beat. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens look awesome. I mean, the Ravens, in the last 3 weeks, they have slaughtered 2 good teams in the NFC. Detroit, they beat them 38-7, I think, a couple weeks ago. They beat Seattle 37-3 the other day. I mean, so they're not just beating good teams, they're annihilating good teams. And so the Ravens, I mean, they're as hot as anybody. And then number 1, it is the Philadelphia Eagles for the second week in a row. It's an interesting thing because the Eagles are 8-1. They look great, but the Eagles have an absolutely brutal schedule coming up where they're probably going to lose some, but we'll see. The Eagles remain number 1 this week on the power rankings. Luke says, what do you think about Vrabel and his miserableness? I've talked about that here. I already said I don't put too much stock into Vrabel's demeanor, his press conferences or anything. I think, he comes from the Belichick school of press conferences. He comes from the Belichick school of media and interviews. I just don't put too much stock into how he behaves in front of cameras. I think he just, I think it's all for show. Let's make some picks for this weekend. What a thriller we've got tonight. I mean, this is one of those that is going to be special. It's the Panthers and the Bears. Thursday night football. I mean, this is, wow. This is going to be a special game. I'm going to go with the Bears in Chicago, but I mean, this game, I guess, is important in terms of draft position. But, I mean, the Panthers don't have a draft pick. Here's the thing. You can't even say it's important for draft position because the Bears have the Panthers pick in the draft. So, not even draft position, But I'll go with the Bears. Colts, Patriots. That game's going to be in Germany. I'm rooting for the Patriots here. But the Patriots are so bad, I got to go with the Colts to win this game. I just think the Patriots, the Colts are a 2-point favorite. I got to think the Patriots just don't have what it takes to win this game. Texans, Bengals. I'm rooting for the Bengals here, and I think the Bengals are going to win. I think that, the Texans can make it interesting with C.J. Stroud and the way they're rolling right now, but I just think the Bengals, they're really getting back to form with Burrow. But, I mean, the only thing is the Bengals do have some significant injuries. Jamar Chase has not practiced this week, so I am a little worried that the Bengals may be without some of their key guys. But for right now, I'm going to pick the Bengals. How about the Packers and the Steelers? The Steelers, I think, are going to get another win. This game's in Pittsburgh. I think that defense is going to make Jordan Love absolutely miserable, and I think the Steelers are going to beat the Packers and get to 6-3. As unbelievable as it is, I think the Steelers are going to win another one. Browns, Ravens. This is an important one. I mean, if the Browns can somehow win this game, you are now looking at, you are now looking at a team that people are going to be like, really? Like, these guys could make some noise. I don't think they're going to, though. This game's in Baltimore, so I'm picking the Ravens over the Browns. I just think the Ravens are so on fire right now. I think they're going to beat the Browns. Let's go 49ers, Jaguars. I am rooting hard for the 49ers in this game. And I think the 49ers are going to win. The game's in Jacksonville, but I think I'm going with the 49ers. They're coming off of a bye. They're going to have Chase Young in there for the first time. And I think the 49ers have lost 3 games in a row. I think they're due. But, I mean, the Jaguars are coming off of a bye, too. So, I mean, they're both coming off of a bye. I just think the Niners are under some pressure here because Seattle is tied with them in that division. They've lost 3 in a row. They need to get it together. So, I'm going to go with the 49ers over the Jaguars. Saints, Vikings, in Minnesota. I'm going with the Vikings. I'm going with the Vikings. I think that they're going to continue to ride this momentum with Dobbs now that Dobbs has actually had a week of practice. And it's in Minnesota. I think those fans are going to be on fire after what happened Sunday. So I'm going with the Vikings over the Saints. Falcons, Cardinals. This is a must-win for Atlanta. This game's a must-win for Atlanta. Kyler Murray going to be back for Arizona, but I am going to go with the Falcons to win this game. This is backs against the wall. They got to get Bijan Robinson more involved. They're going with Taylor Heineke the rest of the way, it appears. Give me the Falcons. Lions, Chargers. This is an interesting one. I mean, this is an opportunity for the Chargers to prove that they can actually make noise here as we go into the second half of the season. But I'm going to go with the Lions. The Lions are coming off of a bye. I think they still have a bad taste in their mouth from how bad the Ravens beat them a few weeks ago. They're going to be rested up. Give me the Lions. Giants, Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to absolutely annihilate the Giants. Coming off of that tough loss, and the Giants are horrible. Commanders, Seahawks. This would be a good opportunity for the Seahawks to get back on track, and I think they will. Give me the Seahawks over the Commanders. The Sunday Nighter. Man, we got some bad Sunday night, or some bad primetime games. It's the Jets and the Raiders on Sunday night, and I'm going to go with the Raiders. They're in Las Vegas. The Raiders are feeling rejuvenated after getting rid of McDaniels, and the Jets looked horrible this past week. So the Raiders over the Jets. And then the Monday Nighter is the Broncos and the Bills. A better game, but not great. It's in Buffalo. I gotta believe that the Bills are gonna win this game. If they lose this, it's time to start hitting the panic button in Buffalo. But I think the Bills will win. Broncos just, I don't think, have the juice to go to Buffalo on a Monday night and win. So give me the Bills over the Broncos. And last but not least, the Tennessee Titans and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I picked against the Titans the last couple of weeks, literally just for the sake of reverse psychology, because it worked the first couple times. It didn't work against the Steelers, though. So I am picking the Titans to win this game legitimately, not just because I'm a Titans fan. I think the Titans will win. I think that Derrick Henry will have a big day. I think Levis will probably be about like he was against Pittsburgh. Not as flashy as he was against Atlanta. But I think Tennessee wins, somewhere around a 24-20 type win. Similar game to the game the Titans and the Bucs had against each other a few years ago. But I am going with Titans over the Bucs. So that's the Two Tone Talk podcast. I'm gonna try to do an episode Monday afternoon. We're coming back from vacation on Monday, so I'll keep you posted. If I do an episode Monday, it'll be much later than usual. It'll be kind of a Monday evening type episode. But if it gets too late, I may just wait until Tuesday to do an episode. But check out on Twitter. Look for the community page on here, and I'll let you know. But hope everybody has a good weekend. I'm headed out to vacation later today. So you guys have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend. Tighten up. Enjoy some good football this weekend. And hopefully the Titans can deliver a dub over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. God bless you guys. This is the Two Tone Talk podcast, staying way too high on the wins, way too low on the losses. Bye, everybody.
Feel free to dance, feel free to sing, just feel free. Feels like the